all the meanings of Daniel Goleman's book, Emotional Intelligence. The book explains how emotions influence success in life, work, and relationships, and teaches how to develop skills to manage them. It shows that emotional intelligence, the ability to understand your own and others' feelings, is often more important than IQ for achieving goals. It's worth reading to learn how to better handle conflicts, improve communication, and boost personal effectiveness. Goleman, a psychologist and journalist, wrote the book in 1995, inspired by research from Peter Salovey and John Mayer, who first coined the term emotional intelligence. The book became a bestseller, translated into 40 languages, and sold over 5 million copies. Interestingly, Goleman initially wrote articles for the New York Times, and his interest in emotions grew from observing people's behavior in stressful situations. Part 1. The Anatomy of Emotions. Chapter 1. Why do we need emotions? Emotions play a key role in survival and decision-making, helping us quickly react to threats or opportunities. They connect mind and body, guiding behavior through instincts and intuition. Understand emotions as signals that tell you what's important in the moment. Notice how your feelings impact your actions and analyze them to better navigate situations. Use mindfulness to recognize emotions before they escalate into impulsive reactions. Practice pausing before responding in emotional situations to evaluate your feelings. For example, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? Keep an emotion journal, noting what events triggered joy, anger, or fear to understand their patterns. This helps you make more thoughtful decisions. For instance, if a colleague annoys you, instead of a sharp retort, pause and note, I'm angry because I feel disrespected. Or if you're happy about praise, write in your journal how it affected your confidence to better understand your reactions. Emotions are not a hindrance, but a compass for life. This chapter teaches you to recognize them as important signals that can be used for conscious actions and better self-understanding. Chapter 2. The Anatomy of an Emotional Hijack. Emotional hijacks occur when the brain reacts to stress or threat, shutting down rational thought. It's a defense mechanism, but it can lead to impulsive actions. Learn to notice the signs of an impending hijack, like a racing heart or tension. Use breathing techniques to calm down and regain self-control. Ask yourself, what's causing this reaction, and how can I respond differently? Practice deep breathing, taking slow inhales and exhales for a minute to reduce emotional intensity. For example, count to 4 on the inhale and exhale to calm yourself. Analyze past hijacks, noting what triggered them and how you could have reacted differently. This helps prevent similar situations from recurring. For instance, if you snapped at a friend for being late, next time, take 5 deep breaths and say, I'm upset. Let's discuss how to avoid this. Or if you yelled at your child, write down what made you angry and decide to calm down first before speaking in the future. Emotional hijacks can be prevented if you learn to recognize and manage them. This chapter offers simple techniques to maintain control and respond consciously, even in stressful situations. Overall conclusion for part 1. Emotions aren't just feelings. They're powerful signals that guide behavior and decisions, but can lead to meltdowns if not managed. This part of the book teaches you to recognize emotions, understand their biological basis, and use techniques like pausing and breathing for conscious management. Practices such as journaling and breathing exercises help you better understand yourself and avoid impulsive reactions. These steps require attention, but they open the path to a more balanced and meaningful life. Part 2. The Nature of Emotional Intelligence. Chapter 3. When mind meets feeling. Emotional intelligence combines reason and feeling, allowing for more thoughtful decisions. Emotions complement logic, helping you navigate complex situations. Develop the ability to be aware of your emotions, to use them as cues in decision-making. Ask yourself, how are my feelings influencing my thoughts right now? Listen to your intuition, but check it with rational analysis to avoid impulsive actions. Practice mindfulness, taking a minute each day to observe your emotions without judgment. For example, notice how joy or irritation affects your actions. Make decisions by combining feelings and logic, such as evaluating why a certain choice feels right. This helps balance emotions and reason. For instance, if you're angry at a colleague, think, I'm angry, but what's best for the work? And suggest a compromise. Or, when choosing a new job, consider not only the salary, but also your feelings. Do I feel comfortable with this team? Emotions and reason work together, strengthening each other. This chapter teaches you to use them in harmony so that decisions are not only logical, but also align with your inner values. Chapter 4, Know Thyself. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, allowing you to understand your feelings and their causes. Without it, emotions can control you instead of you controlling them. Notice your emotional reactions throughout the day and name them anger, joy, anxiety. Keep a journal to track what triggers these feelings and how they influence your behavior. This helps you better understand yourself and prevent unwanted reactions. Practice reflection by asking yourself questions after emotional situations. What did I feel and why? For example, write down, I got angry because I wasn't listened to. Use meditation or breathing exercises to increase awareness of your emotions. This strengthens self-control. For instance, if you get upset by criticism at work, write, I feel hurt because I want to be recognized, and decide how to respond calmly. Or, if you're happy about a success, note in your journal what motivates you to use it in the future. Self-awareness opens the path to managing emotions. This chapter teaches you to notice and analyze your feelings so they become a tool for growth, not an obstacle. Chapter 5, Slave to the Passions. Uncontrolled emotions like anger or fear can hijack the mind, causing impulsive actions. These emotional hijacks happen when the brain reacts to a threat faster than you can think. Learn to recognize early signs of strong emotions, such as a racing heart. Use calming techniques, like counting to 10, to regain control. Ask yourself, can I react differently? Practice interrupting emotional impulses by pausing before reacting. For instance, count to 10 before responding to a provocation. Record situations where emotions took over and analyze how you could have acted differently. This helps develop new reaction habits. For example, if your boss criticized you, instead of a sharp retort, count to 10 and say, I understand. Let's discuss how to improve the work. Or, if you panic before a presentation, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I'm ready. These are just nerves. Emotions can take over, but they can be tamed. This chapter teaches you to recognize and restrain strong feelings, to act consciously. Chapter 6, The Art of Self-Mastery. Self-control is the ability to manage your emotions so they don't harm you or others. It allows you to stay calm in stressful situations and act productively. Practice relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing, to reduce emotional tension. Notice what triggers cause you to lose control, and prepare alternative responses. For example, instead of yelling, try expressing your feelings calmly. Use visualization. Imagine yourself calmly responding to a difficult situation to prepare yourself in advance. For example, picture yourself confidently responding to criticism. Engage in regular physical activity to reduce stress levels and improve self-control. This helps you stay balanced. For instance, if your child is driving you crazy, take 3 deep breaths and say, I understand you're upset. Let's talk. Or, before an important meeting, imagine staying calm, even if you're interrupted, and put that into practice. Self-control turns emotions into allies. This chapter offers practical ways to stay calm and think clearly, even in tough moments. Chapter 7, Sparks of Genius. Emotions like enthusiasm or hope can stimulate creativity and productivity. Positive feelings boost motivation and help achieve goals. Focus on creating conditions that evoke positive emotions. For example, surround yourself with inspiring people. Practice gratitude to enhance a positive mindset, writing down 3 things you're grateful for daily. This increases energy and creativity. Set goals that generate enthusiasm and visualize achieving them to maintain motivation. For example, imagine the joy of completing a project. Use music or hobbies to uplift your mood before working on a task. This helps you enter a flow state. For instance, if you're working on a project, start by listening to your favorite music to energize yourself. Then write, "I'm grateful for the team's support." Or, if you're studying for an exam, imagine the joy of a good grade to boost your motivation. Positive emotions are fuel for success. This chapter teaches you to use them to enhance creativity and motivation, directing energy toward achieving goals. Chapter 8, traumatizing emotions. Emotional traumas, such as loss or violence, leave a mark on the psyche, amplifying negative reactions. They can cause chronic stress or anxiety, hindering emotional management. Acknowledge your traumas and work on healing them through discussions with loved ones or a professional. Practice self-compassion, reminding yourself that it's normal to feel pain. Gradually regain control, starting with small steps, such as breathing exercises. Use writing as a technique to describe your experiences and find meaning in them. For instance, write down how the trauma affected you and what you want to change. Engage in relaxing practices, such as meditation, to reduce the impact of stress. This helps restore emotional balance. For example, if you're struggling with an old argument, write, "I feel pain, but I want to move on," and discuss it with a friend. Or, if stress causes anxiety, practice meditation for 5 minutes a day to calm your mind. Traumas make managing emotions difficult, but they can be overcome. This chapter teaches you to gently work with pain to regain inner balance. Overall conclusion for part 2. Emotional intelligence is the ability to harmoniously combine reason and feelings to manage yourself and achieve goals. This part of the book reveals how self-awareness, self-control, and positive emotions help you cope with impulses, traumas, and inspire creativity. Practices such as breathing exercises, journaling, visualization, and gratitude provide tools for conscious emotional management. These steps require practice, but they open the path to a more balanced life, where emotions become allies, not obstacles. Part 3, emotional intelligence in action. Chapter 9, close enemies. Emotions play a key role in close relationships, where misunderstanding feelings can lead to conflicts. Emotional intelligence helps build harmonious connections through empathy and active listening. Develop empathy by trying to understand your partner's emotions, even if you disagree with their point of view. Practice active listening, paraphrasing what the other person says to show you understand them. Ask questions to figure out what's behind the other person's emotions. Express your feelings honestly, using I statements to avoid accusations. For example, instead of "you always ignore me," say, "I feel unheard when you don't respond." Regularly check your emotions in relationships, asking yourself, "What am I feeling? And how is it impacting our conversation?" This strengthens mutual understanding and reduces tension. For instance, if your partner is upset, rephrase, "You're angry because I was late, right?" and discuss how to avoid it in the future. Or, if a friend seems distant, ask, "I've noticed you look sad. Do you want to share?" Emotions in relationships can be complex, but this chapter teaches you to use empathy and active listening to strengthen bonds and prevent conflicts. Chapter 10, leading with soul. Emotional intelligence in leadership helps create trust and motivation within a team. Leaders who understand employees' emotions better manage conflicts and inspire success. Notice the emotional state of colleagues and acknowledge their feelings to boost their engagement. Use praise and support to strengthen team morale. Practice open communication, sharing your own emotions to create an atmosphere of trust. Conduct regular conversations with employees to learn about their feelings and challenges. For example, ask, "How are you coping with the workload? Is there anything I can do?" Resolve conflicts by listening to both sides and helping find a compromise. This strengthens team spirit and productivity. For example, if an employee seems down, say, "I see you look tired. Let's discuss your tasks." Or during a team disagreement, listen to everyone and suggest, "Let's find a solution that works for everyone." Leadership with emotional intelligence builds strong teams. This chapter shows how to use emotions to motivate and resolve conflicts at work. Chapter 11, mind and heart. Emotional intelligence in medicine and other caring professions improves interactions with people, doctors, teachers, or consultants who understand emotions better support others. Practice empathy, putting yourself in another person's shoes to understand their experiences. Use nonverbal cues, such as eye contact, to show attentiveness. Notice how your emotions influence communication and adjust them to remain professional. Regularly check your emotional state before interacting with people. For example, if you're irritated, pause to calm down before speaking. Ask open-ended questions to understand another's feelings. For example, how do you feel in this situation? This helps build trusting relationships. For instance, if a patient seems anxious, say, "I see you're worried. Tell me what's on your mind." Or if a student is upset, make eye contact and ask, "What happened? How can I help?" Emotions enhance care for others. This chapter teaches you to use empathy and mindfulness to make interactions more human and effective. Overall conclusion for part 3. Emotional intelligence transforms relationships, personal, professional, and caring, into a space of trust and mutual understanding. This part of the book shows how empathy, active listening, and open communication help resolve conflicts, motivate teams, and support others. Practices such as I statements, paraphrasing, and attention to nonverbal cues make interactions deeper and more productive. These skills require practice, but they build strong connections and help you be a leader or a caring person in any field. Part 4. Windows of Opportunity. Chapter 12. The Family Crucible. Family is the first school of emotions, where children learn to understand and manage their feelings through their parents' behavior. Parental reactions shape emotional habits that influence an entire life. Observe how you express emotions in front of children and model healthy ways of showing them. Teach children to name their feelings so they can become aware of and control them. Create a safe space for emotional expression where children aren't afraid to be open. Practice discussing emotions with children by asking questions like, "How do you feel when that happens?" For example, help a child say, "I'm angry," instead of yelling. Use praise for emotional openness to build trust. This helps children grow up with high emotional intelligence. For example, if a child is upset about a fight with a friend, ask, "What are you feeling, tell me," and help them express their sadness. Or, if you're angry yourself, say, "I'm upset. I need a little time to calm down," setting an example of control. Family shapes the emotional foundation. This chapter teaches parents to be an example of conscious emotional management to raise emotionally healthy children. Chapter 13. Trauma and emotional re-education. Emotional traumas, such as loss or violence, can impair the ability to manage emotions, but they can be overcome through re-education. Healing begins with acknowledging the trauma and working through it with support or therapy. Acknowledge your experiences, even painful ones, and allow yourself to process them. Practice self-compassion, reminding yourself that it's normal to feel pain. Use breathing techniques or writing to gradually restore emotional balance. Keep a journal to describe your traumas and associated emotions, finding meaning in them. For instance, write, "I feel fear because of the past, but I want to move forward." Reach out to loved ones or a professional to discuss your experiences in a safe environment. This helps release emotional tension. For example, if you're dwelling on an old grievance, write, "I'm angry about that incident, but I want to let it go," and discuss it with a friend. Or, if stress causes anxiety, practice meditation for 5 minutes a day to calm yourself. Traumas leave a mark, but they can be overcome. This chapter teaches you to gently work with pain to regain control over your emotions and move forward. Chapter 14. Temperament is not destiny. Temperament influences emotional reactions, but it doesn't determine destiny. Emotional intelligence allows you to soften innate traits, such as quick temper or anxiety, through awareness and practice. Identify your temperamental characteristics and work on adjusting them. Practice calming techniques, such as deep breathing, to cope with strong emotions. Notice how your temperament affects communication, and look for ways to react more flexibly. Use reflection to track how your temperament manifests in stressful situations. For example, write down how you react to criticism and think about how to respond more calmly. Practice alternative reactions, such as pausing before responding, to soften impulsivity. This helps you adapt to your temperament. For example, if you're hot-headed and yell in an argument, pause, count to 10, and say, I want to discuss this calmly. Or, if you're anxious before a meeting, practice breathing to reduce tension and remind yourself, I can handle this. Temperament sets the starting line, not the finish. This chapter teaches you to use emotional intelligence to soften innate traits and react more consciously. Overall, conclusion for part 4. Emotional intelligence is shaped from childhood and can be rebuilt even after traumas or the influence of temperament. This part of the book shows how family, conscious work with traumas, and adapting to one's temperament create opportunities for emotional growth. Practices such as discussing emotions, journaling, and breathing techniques help cultivate emotional resilience in oneself and children. These steps require patience, but they open the path to a more balanced life, where emotions become tools for development, not limitations. Part 5. Emotional illiteracy. Chapter 15. The cost of emotional illiteracy. The inability to manage emotions leads to problems in personal life, work, and health. Emotional illiteracy manifests in conflicts, stress, and even physical ailments like high blood pressure. Develop emotional intelligence skills to better cope with life's challenges. Notice how a lack of emotional control affects your relationships or successes. Start small by practicing mindfulness to recognize your feelings. Engage in daily reflection, noting how emotions impacted your day. For instance, observe how anger led to an argument and consider how you could have acted differently. Use breathing exercises to calm down in stressful situations and avoid impulsive reactions. This helps reduce the negative consequences of emotional illiteracy. For example, if you argued with a colleague due to a sharp remark, write, I was irritated and responded rudely, next time I'll pause. Or, if stress prevents you from sleeping, practice 5 minutes of deep breathing before bed to calm yourself. Emotional illiteracy comes at a high cost, but it can be overcome. This chapter teaches you to recognize the consequences of unmanaged emotions and offers simple steps to improve control over them. Chapter 16. Emotional education. Emotional intelligence can be developed through learning, starting in childhood and continuing into adulthood. Emotional management skills, such as empathy and self-control, improve relationships and success in society. Incorporate lessons in emotional literacy into daily life, teaching children and yourself to name and understand feelings. Practice discussing emotions within your family or at work to create a culture of openness. Use games or exercises to make learning about emotions engaging. Have conversations with children about what they're feeling, helping them express emotions verbally. For instance, ask, you're angry about the toy, right? Tell me about it. Create group exercises at work, such as role-playing, to practice empathy and conflict resolution. This strengthens emotional skills for all participants. For example, if a child is upset, help them say, I'm sad because my friend didn't share, and discuss how to cope. Or, at work, organize a training where colleagues practice active listening by paraphrasing each other's words. Emotional education is a path to a better life. This chapter shows how to develop emotional intelligence through practice and discussion, making it a part of everyday life. Overall, conclusion for part 5. Emotional literacy is the key to a harmonious life, helping to avoid conflicts, stress, and disunity. This part of the book emphasizes that the inability to manage emotions has serious consequences, but these can be overcome through learning and practice. Techniques such as reflection, breathing exercises, and discussing emotions make emotional intelligence accessible to everyone, from children to adults. These steps take time, but they create a more conscious and balanced life where emotions become allies. This is such a wonderful book. I wrote down all the important points from this book, all the techniques and tools, and also made a step-by-step action plan based on the book. You can get all this in my private club, Place of Power. There you will find a ready-made detailed text analysis with similar lists for hundreds of best-selling self-help books. Also, only there can you get an exclusive analysis of the newest best-selling books that are currently at the top of Amazon's sales charts. Join via the link in the description and enjoy.